Hello. So today for class, we're going to start with a warm-up and you're just going to tell me what you see. So here we have a function, we're going to call it f of x, and f of x is bread. And here we have a function g of x, and g of x is, I guess, an omelet. So tell me what you notice about these two things. What is the difference between these two? Okay, go ahead and pause the video and write down what you see on your paper. All right, so if you paused, you wrote down maybe, okay, well, g of x is the egg, so the egg is the inside and the f bread is on the outside, okay, if you notice that. And then here, we see f of x is the inside, so the bread is on the inside and the omelet here is on the outside. So if you put that down as something you saw, that's perfect. If you put something else, that's perfectly fine too. But if you notice, that's what we're going to be working with today. We're not going to be making sandwiches, but we will be working with functions, and it's called composition of functions. So where one function is inside the other function. Okay, so copy this down in your notes. Remember, you can pause the video. I'm just going to keep going, and when you need to, just pause it. So a composite function, that's when you combine two or more functions, okay? So the composition of function g with f, this is how you read it. The composition, this little open circle, is not times, it's composition. So this is read the composition of g with f, okay? And that's written like this. And it is also written commonly like this. This is easier to see which function is on the inside. So if it's on the outside, it stays on the outside. And if it's on the inside, it stays on the inside here. Okay, and the steps to evaluating the function, the first step is to evaluate the inner function first. Okay, so we work from the inside out. Step 2 is then you use the answer from the inner function to evaluate the outer function. What are you talking about? That sounds confusing, right? So we're actually going to work with these and we're going to see what that looks like, okay? So remember, if you need time to write this down, go ahead and pause. All right, so we're going to work with these two functions. This is an example of composition of functions. So we're gonna let f of x equal x minus 2 and g of x is equal to x squared. Okay, so we're gonna find the composition of g with f when x is evaluated at -5. So I'm gonna show you two different ways to do this, okay? So I'm gonna start with g composed with f. Okay, and I can write it like this. F of x is on the inside, g is on the outside. So I know that we're evaluating when x is 5. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just work with the function. So for example, I'm just going to scooch it over. Oop. All right, so we're going to start with g. And what's on the inside here? We know that this is on the inside, right? And that is x minus 2. So I'm going to put x minus 2 because remember, we work from the inside, okay? That's not a 2, that's an f. Right? So next I'm going to say, okay, well, what is g? G is x squared. But instead of writing x squared, I'm going to write what's in here. So I know that this is, when I'm looking at x, at this guy, at g, it's x squared. Okay? But instead of writing x squared, I'm going to plug in x minus 2. So this is actually going to be x minus 2 squared. Okay? So that's as simplified as it gets. So now I'm going to be able to plug in this -5. So I'm going to do g of f, actually I'm going to write it like this. So g composed with f of -5, because we already did the composition. This is the composition. So now I'm just going to plug in -5. So we have -5 minus 2, and then we're going to square. So this is -7 squared, which is 49. Okay, so one more time. Here's g. We start with the inside. The inside is x minus 2, so we put it in here. But what is g of x? G of x is x squared, right? But now we're doing x minus 2. So this is g evaluated when x is equal to x minus 2. So here's my x, so I make it x minus 2, and it's still squared. And now I just say, okay, well, there's my function, my new function. So now I have to plug in minus 5. All right, so let me do the second way. Okay, so this is how compose the same. This is the inner function. And what I'm going to do here is, and this is the way that most people like to do it because it's a little bit more straightforward. I'm just going to do f, and I'm actually just going to do f evaluated when x equals negative 5. Okay, well, that means I'm working from this inside function first, which is x, which is this f, right? So in here, I know that the function is x minus 2, right? So I'm going to put minus negative 5 minus 2, which is going to give me negative 7. So now I'm going to do, okay, that's what the inside function is. It's negative 7. So now I can evaluate this function g at negative 7. But what is g? G is x squared. So then I just plug in the negative 7, and I square it, and I'm going to get 49. Okay, notice that we get the same answer. So whether or not you just plug in the x and keep it in the x until the very last minute, or just plug it in. So this is the way this is the method we're going to use the most, okay? Because it seems to be a little bit more straightforward. Find the inside and use the answer. So it's like this step. Evaluate the inside function and use that answer as the input for the outer function. So work from the inside out. Okay, so now we're going to do this one. All right, so this means this is the same as g evaluated or composed with f when x is 2. So here I'm going to use this inside function first, okay? So this is my f, okay? So it's kind of like I'm doing this on the side. F of 2 is equal to 2 to the third power, right? So that's what that is. It's 2 to the third power. That's what's inside. But what is 2 to the third power? That's 8, because it's 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 equals 8. All right, so now I'm evaluating the function g, and I'm plugging in 8. Remember, g is x squared plus 7. Then I plug in 8. 8 squared plus 7. Which is 64 plus 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Carry the 1, so it's 7. Okay, and I write this as g composed with f of 2 is equal to that. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, so I do the inner function first. F of 2, well, that's x squared. So it's going to be, to the third power, which is 8. So that's what's going to go in here now. Okay, so then it's g of 8. And then same thing, x squared plus 7, 8 squared plus 7, 64 plus 7, which is going to give you 71. So notice in here we have a number, and we're going to get a number out, okay? Ooh, this looks familiar. So this is similar to what we did, but we were adding and subtracting functions, right? So now we're actually going to compose the functions. So I'm going to start with the first one. I'm going to start with h f evaluated at 3. So I'm going to say h, and I'm going to find out this answer. What is f evaluated at 3? So here's function f. I'm going to go to 3. Well, what do I get when x is 3? Well, y is 4. Okay, so now I just have this one. H evaluated when x is 4. So now I'm going to go over here to the h function, and I have to plug in 4. So I'll do that on the side over here. h of 4 is equal to 3 times 4, minus 7, divided by 2. It's going to be 12 minus 7 over 2, which is 12 take away 5. 7 is 5. 5 over 2. Oh no, we have a fraction. That's okay. So now I'm going to do this one. It's the same thing. Remember, I work from first I rewrite it. I like to rewrite it like this because I can easily see which one is on the inside. So I'm going to do the inside first. What is f of 0? That's what has to go in here. Well, what is f evaluated at 0? Well, here's 0. This is where x is 0. I go up and it is a 2. Okay, next I do the outside. So what is g when x is evaluated at 2? So I go over here to the g function. Where is x equal to 2? Here it is. So here my answer is 6. Notice I have a number in here, so I have to get a number out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause this and have you guys copy down, and then go ahead and click on the second link to finish up the notes.